My dear, when you move, the provision will follow. I promise you. The Lord showed that to me. He's showing that to you. He desires to show that to you by testing you, by saying you got to move first before I reveal things to you. Look at what he said to our father Abraham in Genesis 12, chapter 2. Go to the land that I will show you. That is literally what he told to me in January. He'd been revealing that he wants to move me. He wants to take me somewhere. And I was like, okay, where, Lord, where and how? Because hello, financial famine. And he said, my daughter, go and I will meet you there. And it happened so beautifully and so miraculously. And whatever the Lord is telling me to do, he is telling his sons and daughters to do as well. So are you one of them who will move and the way will open and the door will open? Okay, some doors are motion activated, my dear. You've got to move first and then the door will open, okay? You've got to step out. You've got to trust, okay, my dear? The provision is waiting for you on the other side. You got to get to the other side, my dear, and the Lord will carry you from where you are to where he is calling you through his divine provision, okay, my dear? Lastly, the fifth and final thing, in my estimation, that you need to remember when God gives you a vision is that there will always be a period of time between receiving the vision and the manifestation of it, okay? Remember in Habakkuk 2:2, it said there is an appointed time. What did it say specifically? For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it will speak and it will not lie. Though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. So I looked up the definition of tarry, even though I kind of got the context from the verse. Tarry means to delay, okay? To delay, to linger, to long for, to have a delay, okay? Even though it may seem like there is something delaying your promise, delaying the manifestation of your promise, even though it seems like you are literally living Abraham and Sarah's reality right now, where the Lord promised you a child or promised you a miracle or promised you a marriage, and it's been tarrying, okay? It's been a minute since he made that promise to you. It will come to pass, okay? It will come to pass. What did it say specifically? But at the end it will speak and it will not lie. Did Sarah not give birth at the ripe old age of 90 something, okay? Did they not receive the promise, though it tarried, though it took a minute, okay? Though Esther had to undergo a season, a year-long preparation season of learning how to become a queen, walk like a queen and talk like a queen, did she not become the queen? Did she not arrive at the palace for such a time as this, where she was able to save her people and fulfill the role of queen of the kingdom, okay? Does God's promises not manifest? They do manifest, my dear, okay? But you've got to believe, though there is a delay, though you perceive a delay in this season, it's really just God's, it's the God gap, okay? It's the appointed time. It's just not time yet. If your promise has not manifested, it simply means it's not time. It's not the appointed time, okay? For such a time as this, a specific time. Had Esther arrived to the kingdom a year, 2 years earlier or later, that would not have been her appointed time. All the Jews would have been dead, God forbid. Okay, all the Jews would have been massacred or, exiled, whatever they were planning to do to the Jewish race. It would have happened had she arrived 2 years later, a year later, or even earlier, okay? Well, she wouldn't have needed to be earlier because Queen Vashti hadn't revealed her true spirit, and so there was no need for a new queen. You see how just a year, a couple months, even a day earlier than Queen Vashti's rebellion would have changed the entire course of history for the Jewish people, for I want to say it's King Xerxes, but I feel like that's a different king, but for the king at that time and Queen Esther, okay? She would not have stepped into her position, her royal position as queen, had she thought, oh, this is taking too long. I don't have a year, to dedicate to becoming a queen. I don't know what I'm going to do in the kingdom. Like, imagine if she had any other attitude than what she had when she was picked off the streets as Hadassah and turned into Queen Esther, okay? There's so much to learn from women of faith in the Bible, from men of faith in the Bible, okay? Even though it appears as though your manifestation is taking too long, it is still not the appointed time. It's simply not the time, my dear, okay? And you run the risk of jeopardizing your miracle. You run the risk of ruining God's plans. You run the risk of putting your own self into a season of delay, okay? Because of your own impatience. God gave you a vision and an appointed time for that vision to be realized. There's work to do even when you don't see it. Even when you don't see the fruits, there's still work to do. Before you harvest, you got to plant, you got to cultivate, you got to water, nourish, okay? And then you will be able to see the fruits of your labor, literally, and you'll be able to harvest that and say, Lord, it was the appointed time. It was the time to harvest. And here we are with a bounty of fruits, veggies, and food and provision and all the things he promised you, okay? Do not rush the vision. Do not rush the process. I know he gave you an expected outcome. He gave you things to, fill your mind, fill your imagination for the next couple years or however long your vision extends in your timeline. But don't rush it. Wait for it to manifest in God's perfect timing. And in the meantime, this is the God gap. This is where God gets to work on you, okay? This is where he gets to develop skills and ability and talents, okay? Discipline. He's getting rid of pride and arrogance and ignorance in this season, okay? Things that you can't take with you to the promised land, things you can't take with you to the next level where a new vision might be given to you, okay? A new level will be required of you. You cannot take some of your now level attitudes and mentalities to next level. And the Lord is pruning those things out of you in the season while he is giving you the vision so that you can have something to work toward. Okay, my dear, he has an expected end and he expects you to be the person he's called you to be when that vision is about to be realized, when that promise is about to be fulfilled. Imagine if we had not been focusing on becoming a virtuous woman before the ring or before becoming a wife. We would not be ready to receive the blessing of the marriage covenant, my dear. We would simply not be in position nor prepared to become a virtuous wife because we did not focus on becoming virtuous women. So important and so relevant to exactly what we're talking about today, whether that's vision, whether that's becoming a virtuous woman like we've been talking about on our channel, whether that is simply just stepping into the new role the Lord has for you. Imagine if you had rushed the process, created an Ishmael instead of waiting for Isaac, okay? So many things can happen when you rush the process. There's always a God gap because there's an appointed time, my dear, okay?